13th will be 1 year since the United States went on lockdown. I decided, what should we do for that interesting occasion? I thought let's do a time. Hi my pretties, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry that there wasn't a video for last week, but a lot of things have just been happening that week and I just didn't have the full energy to do a video, so yeah, my bad. And then a little disclaimer, if you guys hear a little beep, is because the smoke detector's battery is now low, so it beeps like that. It was gonna beep a little bit during the video in the background, but yeah, the batteries are low. It's just, yeah. But as we know, Saturday the 13th will be 1 year since the United States went on lockdown. I decided, what should we do for that interesting occasion? I thought let's do a timeline. So what I did is pretty much list off everything that I can remember happening from the time President Trump, former president, announced that we will be on a national, that considered COVID as a national emergency and the United States will be on lockdown. So pretty much everything listed from March 13th, 2020, from literally the time I'm recording this is Friday, the day before, so March 12th of 2021. Some of these events are public, like they affect the country as a whole. Some of these are just personal events that happen in my life. So those are going to have a little asterisk listed at the bottom right here on the screen when it pops up. But yeah, let us get started. But sorry, my bad. But yeah, you can see I have it on my pages. I don't know if you guys can see it because the light on light. But yeah, so there's pretty much just a timeline of every date listed. I also had to do a lot of research trying to figure out any events that happened. Just doing a lot of research, looking through different articles of timelines of what events did happen, dates to match it, because I want it to be as accurate as possible. If it's not accurate, or if there's a date that I have missed, an event that I have missed, please just leave it down in the comments down below, because 2020 was pretty much just a whole blur. A lot of things I had to look up, a lot of things I have to search onto my calendar to be like, what date was that, what day was this. But yeah, it didn't take me too long because my research wasn't too long, but still it took me a while to, yeah. So let's start. March 13th, 2020, pretty much a year ago, the United States go on lockdown, but also Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home during her sleep. As we all said, justice for Breonna Taylor. March 16th, this event personally affected me. I got news that the designer shoe warehouse, so DSW, was shutting down for the quarantine, and that was my last official shift until quarantine started. Then the day after, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, we all got news, Minnesotans got news, that the Mall of America will be closing early and will not be opening until further notice for the lockdown. So I didn't show up that day because I didn't really see a point of me coming in for like 3 or so hours. So yeah, March 20th, 2020, tax day was extended to July 15th, because previously it's April 15th, as everybody any adult knows. Really, any person with a job that has taxes knows, yeah. From, and then March 24th, 2020, there's an announcement that the 2020 Summer Olympics have been postponed until 2021. But as of right now, they said that, but if COVID, and they said if COVID is still an international emergency, that it's just going to be, that the Olympics is just going to be canceled altogether. So yeah. March 27th, 2020, I received my last paycheck until further notice, and then the House and the Senate passed the COVID relief stimulus bill for Americans. And then also, I think that was around the time I started getting a cold. But yeah, that was like the last cold I got that for a whole year. But yeah, and then April 5th. The White House recommends people to wear masks when out in public, but there's still some people who can't do that. They know who they are. But yeah. April 8th, 2020, Senator Sanders, he drops out of the presidential race, making Biden the clear winner of the Democratic nomination for the 2020 presidential election. And then early April 2020, I can't remember the exact date, I applied for unemployment until further notice, until work starts coming back up. But yeah. And then April 14th, 2020, all Americans who made the qualifications, reached the requirements, received the first stimulus check, which was $1,200. So yeah. Then April 19th, 2020, I hit 100 subscribers. But yeah, and it was also in April. I can't remember the exact date, but I had my first seafood boil, and now I'm so in love with it. But yeah. Yeah, May 3rd, 2020, the Asian murderous hornets invaded the United States, but they kind of just disappeared for some reason. I haven't heard anything about them after that, but yeah. And then May 4th, 2020, I filed for my first unemployment check. Yeah. And then May 6th, it literally just was made, like, literally goes 2 to 3 days. But yeah. So May 6th, I received that first employment check with that extra $600. And then May 15th, 2020, I just thought I'd add it, but yeah. Netflix finally adds Avatar: The Last Airbender, the animated version. Not the movie. The movie was garbage. But yeah, they added that. And then May 25th, 2020, as any Minnesota knows, or any American, or, any person with the internet has heard of the murder of George Floyd. And then after that, from May 26th to the 31st of 2020, there was a lot of peaceful protests, really more of the daytime. And then as it started getting darker, there was more violent riots with people breaking into, like, the Target on Lake Street, the AutoZone across from the Target, and pretty much any of the shopping area on Lake Street was looted. But yeah, so I think it was May 27, 2020, that all 4 police officers involved in the video were fired, and then the COVID death exceeds 100,000 mark. And then I don't know if it was May 27th or May 28th, 2020, the governor of Minnesota and the mayor of Minneapolis established a curfew from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Because I remember when you were if you lived in Minnesota at that time, you were getting a little like kind of like an Amber Alert kind of notification, be like, hey, curfew starts at this time, like around like I think like 7:45, like 15 minutes before the curfew started, then 10 minutes, then 5 minutes. It was a little bit annoying. I mean, like, I guess, yeah. And then I think it was the May 28th, 2020, the Minneapolis Police Department abandons the third precinct that is on Lake Street, right across from the Target there, because it was burnt down. Ezra burnt down. And then I don't know if it's, I don't remember if it was May 28th or the 29th of 2020 that the National Guard was brought into Minneapolis to stop the riots at nighttime. And then yeah, that whole week, wild. But yeah, so May 29th, 2020, the CNN Center in Atlanta, Georgia is damaged during those protests. And then around late May, early June 2020, I can't really pinpoint an exact date. I tried to find it, but yeah. All 4 police officers involved the murder was charged. Chauvin was charged with second-degree murder. The former president used the National Guard, who threw tear gas, shot rubber bullets at the protesters to cross the street to a church just to get, a photo op of him holding, I think, an upside-down Bible in front of the church, pretty much, yeah. But, June 5th, I think that's the right time. Minneapolis suspends that curfew. It also is my youngest niece's first birthday, so yeah. And then, June 12th, 2020, Rayshard Brooks is murdered in Wendy's parking lot, which the restaurant was burnt down the very next day, and the police officer who murdered him, as well as the partner involved, were charged with murder and aggravated assault. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but yeah. And then June 14th was Flag Day, but also my oldest brother's 38th birthday. And then June 15, 2020, Supreme Court rules employers cannot discriminate on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity. Yeah. And then 3 days later, June 18, 2020, Supreme Court rules in saving DACA, protecting 1,000 of deportation. And then I can't really pinpoint the exact date, but it was like June 2020, or maybe like July 2020, but really it was like the summer. Gen Z. Sorry, I spelled something. Sorry, I had a little moment. But Gen Z takes down statue of racist figures across pretty much the country. There's videos of it. Pretty much a lot of TikTok videos, people talking about it, but yeah. And then mid-June 2020, companies did begin to remove black caricatures. Caricatures? Yeah, but that's what it is. Off of food products like Auntie Gemma, Uncle Ben, like that stuff. And then around like June 19, 2020, which is pretty much Juneteenth, a lot of people are starting to recognize it as a holiday, but I don't know if it has yet to become like an official like national holiday. But yeah. And then June 20th, 2020, the former president decides to ban TikTok after Gen Z trolls him with his Tulsa, Oklahoma rally. But yeah, and then June 26, 2020, I got my MacBook Air with some free AirPods. But yeah. And then we go into July. Not a lot of things. I can't remember a lot in July, but yeah. July was kind of like blur. But if there's any other dates anything that happened in July that I don't remember, just leave it in the comments down below. But yeah, July 13, 2020, Glee star I'm reading this so fast. Naya Rivera's body was found after days of being missing in a lake and was pronounced dead. And then also is my nephew's 10th birthday. Then we go into July 30th, 2020. My second older brother's birthday was 31st birthday, and then August 10th was my 22nd birthday. And then the day after, August 11th, 2020, President Biden announced Vice President Harris as his running mate for the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, and then and then in mid-August 2020, California and Washington State dealing with delayed wildfires spreading pretty much millions of acres. But yeah, and then August 21st, 2020, I officially go back to work to start training on the new procedures because of COVID. But yeah. And then August 28th, 2020, Jacob Black was shot and paralyzed from the waist down by a cop in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And then the Black Panther actor Chadwick Boseman passed away from a 4-year battle of colon cancer. Yeah. And then September 18th, 2020, the Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader, yeah, I think it's Bader Ginsburg passed away at the age of 87. And then September 19, 2020, the U.S. COVID date passes the 200,000 mark. And then I can't literally remember for the life of me, but I know it was late September 2020. It was the first and the only presidential debate was televised. Then a few days later, October 2nd, 2020, the former president and former first lady tested positive for COVID. Because I remember it was a few days back. I don't remember exactly how far back in September, because he said, look at him, he's wearing a mask all the time, blah blah blah, and then next thing you know, he's tested positive for COVID. That was karma right there. But yeah, and then October 7th, 2020 is my sister's 28th birthday. And then October 31st, Halloween. And then November 1st, 2020 is my oldest niece's 4th birthday. And then November 3rd, 2020 is election night / week. And then November 7th, 2020, Biden wins the 2020 presidential election with the crucial, Biden Harris, but yeah. With the crucial assistance from Pennsylvania, his birth state, thanks to the mail-in ballots. And also making Harris the first woman of South Asian descent and Black to win the vice presidential election too. Thought I'd throw that in there. And then the very next day, November 8th, 2020, beloved Jeopardy host Alex Trebek passed away from his battle of stage 4 pancreatic cancer. And then November 11th, 2020 is my mom's 59th birthday. Then November 13th, 2020, I received news of my stepdad's passing. But yeah. And then November 19th, 2020, Governor Walz of Minnesota temporarily closed restaurants and bars because of COVID spikes. And then November 26, 2020, Thanksgiving. And then December 14, 2020, the first Americans, pretty much just first responders and those who work in the medical field, receives the first vaccination to fight against COVID. Congress goes through the electoral votes for each state for Biden and Harris, historical win. And then the U.S. COVID death passes 300,000 mark. That's a lot for December 14th. But December 25th, 2020, Christmas, my favorite day, my favorite holiday. But yeah, December 31st, 2020, New Year's Eve, and the Congress passes a $2.3 trillion COVID-19 relief and government funding bill, giving Americans $600 stimulus checks. And then January 1st, New Year's Day, 2021, we receive the $600 stimulus check. Then we go into January 5th, 2021, is the Georgia Senate runoff race. Both Democrats taking those last two seats, making it a 50-50 dead tie, with Vice President Harris being the president of the Senate, being the tiebreaker. And then January 6th, literally the next day, both Senate and the House certified those votes, but was interrupted by the Capitol riot. Then January 13th, the next week, 2021, the former president is impeached a second time. And then we go to January 19th, 2021, the U.S. COVID. I was about to say COVID. I'm doing this like at 9:29, so yeah, reading this really fast because I'm trying to push through. But yeah, the U.S. COVID death passes that 400,000 mark, and then the next day, January 20th, 2021, the inauguration of the 46th president and the 49th vice president. And then we go into February. So February 9th to the 10th, I can't exactly remember, but it was 2021, that the Senate acquits the former president for the second time with, I think it was 57 to 43. And then early February 2021, Gorilla Glue Girl. Let's just leave it at that. Let's leave it at that. And then February 22nd, 2021, the U.S. COVID date passes that 500,000 mark. 500,000 people passing away of COVID. And then we go into this month, March 2nd, 2021, Governor Abbott of Texas lifts the mask mandate and opens Texas 100% back up. Even though that's a dumb idea. I just realized I forgot about the Texas ice storms, but yeah. Leave a comment down below on what date that was, because, I forgot about that. But yeah, March 6, 2021, the Senate passes a new version of the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill, excluding that $15 minimum wage. And then March 7th is all tea was spilled. 2021, Prince Harry and Meghan has an interview with Oprah, revealing that was a lot of racism from the royal family and not a lot of support from them either. But yeah, so March 8th, 2021, the Derek Chauvin trial begins in Minnesota, just picking for the jurors, yeah. And then March 10th, the House passes that $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill, updated by the Senate, including that $1,400 stimulus check, and Texas mask mandate has expired. And then we go to March 11th, 2021, President Biden signs the $1.9 trillion COVID relief bill. And then by around March 17th, most of us who have direct deposit filed into our IRS account, well, with the IRS having our bank information, we'll be getting checks by March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah, that is my entire timeline. From literally March 13, 2020. I know that there's gonna be like, hey, why didn't you mention about the things that happened in January and February? I'm like, yes, a lot happened in those first 2 months, but those 2 months were not affected by COVID at the time. It was from March 2020 to March 2021. Those were the months that were affected by us being at home, stay at home, having to go out, wearing a mask, doing all this, taking vaccinations, cleaning, washing our hands, all that stuff. So yeah, I did not include January 20 or January January 2020 or February 2020. Because those 2 months, we weren't really worried about COVID at the time. We weren't really talking about COVID at the time. It was by March, that's when it started hitting and getting more serious. So yeah. But yeah, that is the entire timeline. There's going to be a lot of photos. They're going to be popping up on the side. So yeah. So probably also be like a trigger warning because some of these photos are a little out there. But yeah, a little dark, but yeah. But y'all, I honestly am ready for this. Ready for COVID to literally be behind us so we can finally go back to normal, enjoying concerts, enjoying sporting events, enjoying holidays with our friends and family, all those stuff that we really did take for granted before this debacle happened. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying your day, afternoon, or evening. Until then, bye guys, and stay safe.